Welcome. You will reach review time with Imperial. Today's review will be High Notes starring Tracy Ellis Ross, Dakota Johnson, Ice Cube are the main characters. And the lovely Tracy Ellis Ross graces us with her appearance in the movie. She plays as a aging singer by the name of Grace Davis. Dakota Johnson plays as Maggie, which is her assistant. And so it goes from there. And Ice Cube plays as Jack, which is her manager. So it basically is going off an aging singer who's very popular, had a successful career, but she's going in like the twilight part of her career. And where does she go from here? So she's faced with the options of doing Vegas, where a lot of retired singers go to keep the money flow going and just continuously do their hits. But she still feels as though that she has more in her. She wants to do more, but you got the record label that's basically saying we could do a live album and this is best for you. You have an assistant in Maggie who she's trying to find herself. She just doesn't want to be assistant for the rest of her life. She wants to do more in the business, become a producer and stuff, and she thinks she has a knack for it. And so she wants to give her input, but they don't take her serious because they just look at her as an assistant. And Ice Cube, which is the manager, he's pretty much is pretty hard on her. And so from there, they pretty much tell her that she needs to pretty much go out on her own and get her own clientele if she want to be taken seriously. So she runs into a guy that she meets. He got talent. She pretty much befriended him, said she's a producer and that she wanted to work with him. Um, and pretty much told him, she'll work with him, clean his music up. And she pretty much she did. She did do that. However, she in all reality she really wasn't a producer. She just had the knack. She had the talent. And so she refurbished his music, got his music going, and he started doing appearances. Meanwhile, she was losing her way being an assistant for Grace, and it became an issue. And so she wanted to pretty much merge the two. She wanted for her to be taken seriously. She wanted to try to she wanted to have her artists open up for Grace, and she finagled it, but it blew up in her face because when she finally told her artist, she didn't tell them out front. She told them that she was over a producer, and she had to let them know pretty much, I'm really not a producer. I'm an assistant and to Grace. And he like, why you didn't tell me you was assistant to Grace? So he got upset and he uh, left on her. He didn't want to open up for Grace. And then Grace bashed him, and Grace pretty much, this was her live album, and Grace pretty much told her, see, you wanted to be a producer, but you didn't, first thing first, as a producer, you gotta have trust in your artist. And how I'm gonna trust you if I can't trust you to do this? So it kind of blew up in her face. She went home to her dad. Her dad was on the radio. He was a radio personality. I think her mom passed away when she was younger. And the dad was just, you get to see her roots on how she learned to love music and everything like that. And then Grace had a self-reflection where nobody was trying to take her serious for her to prolong her career. So she pretty much, Maggie was the only one that really believed in her, and she wanted to give Maggie a chance. So she showed up where Maggie lived at, and she showed up where Maggie lived at with her dad, and they basically reconciled. Meanwhile, when she called her artist that bounced on her, he told her he wanted to see her, and he found out that they wanted, off of what he did, they wanted to sign him. But when he went to go meet with Maggie, Grace was there, and he got to find out the twist of the movie is that you find out this guy Maggie been dealing with is Grace's son, and Grace had a son the whole time, and it showed how she couldn't go public because it would hurt her image that she had a child. So she had some lawyers that masked everybody from her child from the world, and they had no. And she been wanting to come out to the world and let everybody know she has a child, but the child wasn't ready. He wasn't ready, and so he felt as though if people wouldn't take him seriously if he would come out and say he was her son. He had to earn his own way first and then come out after the fact. And so they eventually did that, and then that was pretty much the synopsis of the movie. So it was a good movie. It's a good film, a decent watch. It probably would have did well in the movie theaters, but with the COVID-19, everything we're experiencing out here. So in my 4-star rating system, I'm gonna give this movie 3 out of 4 stars. It was a decent film to watch. Subscribe and like to the channel. And on another note, we often hear these stories out here with certain artists in the world that this story doesn't just come out of thin air. There are plenty of stories out here where you hear that these artists have children that you never. Well, it's more prevalent that you see. It's a lot of men that have kids out here that nobody knew that that's their child, and but you don't hear so much of the women that do it. But it has been alleged that there are some women that are singers that is well known that got children out here that nobody don't know. It's not really uncommon. It's not common that that's happening, but it is something that's alleged to be out there. So nevertheless, it was a good film. And like I said, subscribe and like to the channel. Comment if you did see the movie and what did you think about it. And Tracy Ellis Ross, she did a wonderful job. I know her mom is, which is Diana Ross, is proud. And I also heard that she did a lot of her own vocals for the singing parts of the movie. So that's excellent as well. She's awesome. Till next time.